The elevator wasn't supposed to stop. That's the part that still sticks with me. Not the silence that came after. Not the way the lights flickered. Not even the fact that I ended up stuck in a metal box with Owen and a stranger who turned out to be way more than just the electrician. It was how normal everything felt right before it happened. We had just stepped in. Owen was mid-sentence, complaining about something stupid, probably our upstairs neighbors again, while I leaned against the side panel, half listening, half scrolling through my phone. And then, clunk, the whole thing jolted. Not violently, but enough to make my knees lock and my hand shoot out to steady myself. What the hell was that? Owen said immediately. The elevator didn't move. No hum. No slow continuation upward. Just stopped. Between floors. I looked up at the display. Frozen. Are you serious right now? I muttered. Behind us, someone exhaled. Calm. Controlled. Way too calm for the situation. That's not ideal, the guy said. I turned around. That's when I really noticed him. He'd stepped in last second before the doors closed, toolbox in hand, like he'd done it 100 times. Mid-20s, maybe a little older than us. Dark hair, slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it all day. Work jacket, sleeves pushed up, exposing forearms marked with faint smudges of grease. Not dirty, just real. Grounded. Wait, Owen said, pointing at him. You're the electrician, right? From 4B. The guy nodded once. Spencer. Of course his name was Spencer. I don't know why that felt right, but it did. You came to fix the lights or something? I asked. Power issues, he corrected, glancing up at the ceiling like he could already diagnose it through instinct alone. Elevators probably tied into the same system. Great, Owen said dryly. So we're stuck because of the thing you came to fix. Spencer didn't argue. Didn't even look offended. If I had to guess, he said, stepping closer to the control panel. Yeah. Owen let out a short laugh, shaking his head. Unbelievable. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Of course. Please tell me you have service, I said, looking at Spencer. He checked his phone, then slipped it back into his pocket. Nope. Awesome, Owen muttered. Love that for us. Spencer crouched slightly, opening a small panel beneath the buttons. His movements were precise, like he'd done this so many times it didn't even require thought. Meanwhile, the space suddenly felt smaller. Not physically, just aware. Of everything. The faint buzz of the lights overhead. The way Owen kept shifting next to me, restless. And Spencer, close enough now that I could see the small details I shouldn't have been focusing on. The line of his jaw. The concentration in his eyes. The way his hands moved steady, confident, like nothing about this situation fazed him. You don't seem worried, I said. He glanced up at me briefly. I'd be worried if I didn't know what I was doing. That shouldn't have meant anything. But something about it landed. Owen caught my eye again, giving me that subtle "are you hearing this guy?" Look. I ignored him. Barely. The elevator lights flickered. All three of us went still. Okay. Owen said, looking up. I'm not a fan of that. Relax, Spencer said, already standing again. Probably just a voltage drop. Probably. Owen repeated. Spencer gave a small shrug. It's an old building. That's not comforting. I leaned back against the wall, exhaling slowly. All right, I said. So what's the plan? Spencer wiped his hands on his jeans, thinking for a second. I try a manual reset from here, he said. If that doesn't work, we wait until someone notices and calls it in. How long does that usually take? Owen asked. Spencer looked at him, then at me, then back at the unresponsive panel. Depends. On what? I said. He hesitated for half a second. On how lucky we are. The silence that followed felt heavier than it should have. Another flicker. Longer this time. The elevator creaked softly, like something shifting deep inside the walls. And for the first time, Spencer's expression changed. Just slightly. Not panic. Not even concern. Just focus tightening. Like whatever this was, it wasn't as simple as he first thought. I felt it in my chest before I could explain it. That subtle shift. That quiet realization. We weren't just stuck. Something was actually wrong. And suddenly, being trapped in that elevator with Owen and Spencer didn't feel random anymore. It felt like the beginning of something neither of us expected. The next flicker lasted just a little too long. Not enough to leave us in complete darkness, but enough to make my chest tighten before the lights snapped back on again. Yeah, I don't like that, Owen said, more serious now. Spencer didn't respond right away. He was listening. That's what I noticed first. Not looking. Not moving. just standing there, head slightly tilted, like he was trying to pick apart every sound the elevator was making. What? I asked. He exhaled slowly. Nothing. Just trying to figure out where it's stuck. Between floors, Owen said. Very helpful, I know. Spencer almost smiled. Almost. Then he stepped closer to the panel again, this time pressing a sequence of buttons I didn't recognize. Nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing. Okay, he muttered under his breath. That's not great. Owen straightened immediately. Not great how? Spencer glanced back at us. System's not responding at all. Silence. Meaning? I pressed. Meaning the reset didn't go through, he said. Which means either the control system is down, or the power fluctuation messed with more than I thought. That sounds bad, Owen said. It's not good, Spencer corrected. I let out a breath, running a hand over my face. All right, so what now? Spencer hesitated. And that hesitation, that tiny pause, did more to my nerves than anything else. We wait, he said finally. For how long? Owen asked. Spencer didn't answer immediately. That was answer enough. Owen let out a quiet curse, turning away and pacing the small space like he could somehow walk this off. I stayed where I was. Mostly because moving meant getting even closer to Spencer, and for some reason, I was already too aware of him as it was. The air felt warmer now, thicker, like the space was slowly closing in, even though it wasn't. You okay? Spencer asked. I blinked. He was looking directly at me. Not Owen. Me. Yeah, I said quickly. Why wouldn't I be? He shrugged slightly. You're quiet. Owen snorted from the other side. He's always quiet when he's stressed. I'm not stressed, I shot back. You're definitely stressed. I'm fine. Spencer watched the exchange, something unreadable in his expression. Then, quieter, almost like he didn't want Owen to catch it. You don't have to pretend. That threw me off more than anything else so far. Because he wasn't wrong. I looked away first. Not pretending, I muttered. Sure, Owen said. I ignored him. Another creak from the elevator. This time louder. Closer. Owen stopped pacing immediately. Okay, what was that? Spencer turned toward the doors, listening again. The cables above us groaned faintly. Not snapping. Not breaking. Just shifting. Still holding, Spencer said. Still holding? Owen repeated. That's not reassuring. It's not falling, Spencer added calmly. That's the bare minimum. Despite everything, I let out a short laugh. It slipped out before I could stop it. Both of them looked at me. What? I said. You're laughing, Owen pointed out. Yeah, well, what else am I supposed to do? Spencer's lips curved slightly. And for a second, just a second, the tension eased. Until the lights flickered again. And this time, they went out. Completely. Darkness dropped over us so fast it felt physical. Owen swore immediately. Oh, hell no. Relax, Spencer's voice cut through, low and steady. It's temporary. Easy for him to say. I couldn't see anything. Not Owen. Not Spencer. Just darkness and the sound of my own breathing getting louder than it should have been. Then, a soft click. A faint glow. Spencer's phone flashlight. It lit up his face first. Sharp shadows. Focused eyes. That same calm expression, but now it felt different in the dark. More intense. More real. You good? He asked. Again, looking straight at me. I swallowed. Yeah, I said, even though my voice came out quieter than before. Owen leaned closer to the light. Man, this is officially the worst elevator ride of my life. Spencer huffed a quiet laugh. Give it a minute, he said. That's not funny. It wasn't a joke. Owen groaned. I shifted slightly, adjusting my stance, and that's when it happened. The elevator jerked. Harder this time. Not dropping, but enough to throw me off balance. I stumbled forward without thinking. Straight into Spencer. His hands caught me instantly. Firm. Steady. Like he'd been ready for it. For a second. Too close. Way too close. I could feel the heat from his body, the solid grip of his hands on my arms, the way his breath hitched just slightly. Or maybe that was mine. Careful, he said, quieter now. Not teasing. Not distant. Close. I didn't move right away. Neither did he. And in that moment, with Owen still muttering behind us, the elevator dark, the world reduced to this tiny space. Something shifted. Not the elevator. Something else. Something between us. And I had a feeling. Getting stuck here wasn't going to be the hardest part of this night. I didn't pull away right away. That's the first thing I remember. Not the jerk of the elevator. Not Owen swearing behind us. Not even the fact that we were still stuck somewhere between floors with no power. Just the way Spencer's hand stayed on me a second longer than necessary. Not gripping, not forcing, just steady, like he was making sure I wasn't going anywhere. "You okay?" he asked again, his voice lower this time. Closer. Too close. "Yeah," I said, but it came out quieter than I meant it to. For a second, neither of us moved. The flashlight in his hand cast this dim glow between us, enough to see his face focused, calm, but there was something else there now. Something more aware. Then Owen cleared his throat loudly. "All right," he said, dragging the moment back to reality. "Not to interrupt whatever that was, but can we focus on the fact that we just dropped?" "We didn't drop," Spencer said, finally letting go of my arms. I stepped back, trying to ignore the sudden absence of his touch. "It shifted," he added. "That's not better," Owen shot back. Spencer turned slightly, angling the flashlight toward the control panel again. "It is better," he said. "Means the brakes are still holding." Owen ran both hands over his face. "Man, I hate that you keep saying things like that." I leaned back against the wall again, forcing myself to breathe normally. But it wasn't just the situation anymore. It was him. The way he moved. The way he stayed calm like nothing could actually go wrong. Or maybe like he just wouldn't let it. "You always this relaxed?" I asked. Spencer glanced over at me. "In elevators?" he said. "In general." He thought about it for a second. "Depends on the situation." "And this?" I gestured around us. He held my gaze a beat longer than necessary. "I've handled worse." Owen let out a short laugh. "Yeah? You get stuck in elevators with random guys often?" Spencer smirked slightly. "Not usually with commentary like yours." "Wow," Owen said. "Okay, I see how it is." I couldn't help it, I smiled. "Just a little." Spencer noticed. Of course he did. The flashlight shifted slightly as he adjusted his grip, the beam dipping just enough to throw shadows across his face again. It made everything feel closer, more private, like the world outside didn't exist anymore. Another quiet creak echoed above us. We all went still again. This time, Spencer moved first. "All right," he said, more focused now. "I'm going to try accessing the top panel." Owen blinked. "The top panel?" Spencer tilted his head upward toward the hatch in the ceiling. "There's a manual override up there sometimes." "Sometimes," Owen repeated. Spencer shrugged. "Worth checking." I looked up at it, then back at him. "You're serious?" "Unless you've got a better idea." I didn't. Owen definitely didn't. "Fine," Owen said. "What do you need?" Spencer hesitated, then looked at me. "You're taller," he said simply. I frowned. "Barely. Still counts." I let out a breath, already knowing where this was going. "Don't tell me." "I need a boost," he said. Owen immediately stepped forward. "Oh, I got this." "Not you," Spencer said without missing a beat. Owen froze. "Excuse me." Spencer nodded toward me again. "Him." I felt Owen's stare hit the side of my face. "Oh, this is personal now," he muttered. "Center of gravity," Spencer said calmly. "Less likely to lose balance." "Wow," Owen said flatly. "Love that for me." I shook my head, already stepping forward. "All right, fine," I said. "Let's just do it." Spencer moved closer. Again. Too close. "Just hold steady," he said. "I will if you don't fall on me." No promises. Not reassuring. Owen snorted behind us. "If he falls, I'm not catching either of you." "Helpful," I muttered. Spencer positioned himself, one hand briefly resting on my shoulder. And yeah, that did something. "Again." "Ready?" he asked. "Yeah." He stepped up, using my support to reach the hatch above. For a second, everything felt oddly coordinated. His weight shifting carefully, my hands steadying him without thinking. The faint brush of his leg against mine as he adjusted. "Got it," he said, pushing the panel open with a dull click. A rush of darker air filtered down from above. Colder. Quieter. Spencer lifted himself slightly, peering into the opening. The flashlight beam followed, cutting through the narrow shaft. "What do you see?" Owen asked. Spencer didn't answer right away. And that pause again, made my chest tighten. "Spencer," I said. He leaned back slightly, looking down at me. Something had changed in his expression. Not panic. Not exactly. But definitely not as calm as before. "It's not just the elevator," he said slowly. "What do you mean?" Owen asked. Spencer exhaled. "Looks like the whole system's down." Silence dropped hard. "Heavy down," Spencer added. And suddenly, this wasn't just us being stuck anymore. This was something bigger. something that wasn't going to be fixed with a quick reset. And the way Spencer was still standing that close to me, the way his hand hadn't fully left my shoulder yet, made it very clear. We weren't getting out of here anytime soon. Heavy down wasn't the kind of phrase you want to hear when you're stuck in a metal box hanging between floors. Owen was the first to react. "What does that even mean?" he asked, voice sharper now. Spencer dropped back down carefully, his hand sliding off my shoulder, but not before I felt that same lingering pressure again. Like he didn't rush to let go. "It means," he said, stepping back just enough to look at both of us, "this isn't just a local glitch. If the system above is down too, the elevator's not getting power the normal way. So we're just stuck?" Owen said. "For now," Spencer replied. "For now," Owen repeated. "Man, you keep adding words that make this worse." Spencer exhaled slowly, like he was choosing what to say. "I'm trying to be honest." "Try being optimistic," Owen shot back. I rubbed the back of my neck, glancing up at the open hatch again. It felt different now, knowing there was nothing up there that could immediately help. "So what's the actual plan?" I asked. Spencer looked at me. Not past me, not around me, at me. "I'm thinking," he said. That didn't exactly calm me down. Another quiet shift ran through the elevator, subtle, but enough to remind us exactly where we were. Owen leaned against the wall again, exhaling hard. "This is insane. We were literally just going downstairs." "Yeah," I muttered. "Worst decision of the night." Spencer huffed a quiet breath that almost sounded like a laugh. "Could be worse," he said. Owen stared at him. "How?" Spencer tilted his head slightly. "You could be alone." There was a pause. Owen blinked. "That's not comforting." But I got what he meant, even if I didn't want to admit it. Because yeah, we were stuck. But it wasn't silent. It wasn't empty. And somehow that mattered. More than it should have. Spencer moved again, this time sitting down slowly against the wall across from us, like he was settling in for something longer than he'd planned. That alone said a lot. Owen noticed it too. "You're sitting, conserving energy," Spencer said simply. "That's not a great sign. It's a practical one." I slid down the wall a second later, sitting across from him without really thinking about it. Owen looked between us. "Oh, so we're just doing this now." "You can keep pacing if you want," I said. He hesitated, then sighed and dropped down beside me anyway. The space felt different like this. Quieter. Closer. The flashlight rested between us now, angled upward just enough to light all three of our faces in that dim, uneven glow. It should have felt worse. But it didn't. Not exactly. "So," Owen said after a moment. "Spencer, right?" "Yeah." "How long you been doing this?" "Couple years." "You always get stuck in elevators with people?" Spencer glanced at me briefly before answering. "Not usually." Owen smirked slightly. "Lucky us." I rolled my eyes, but I could feel Spencer's attention shift again. Subtle, but there. "Why'd you take this job?" I asked, mostly just to fill the silence. Spencer leaned his head back against the wall. "Good money," he said. "Flexible hours." "That it?" He paused. Then, quieter. "I like fixing things." I don't know why that stuck with me. Maybe because of the way he said it. Simple, but real. Owen nodded. "Fair enough." Another pause. Then, "You live here?" Spencer asked. "Yeah," Owen said. "Same floor." Spencer's eyes flicked to me. "And you?" "Yeah," I said. "Just down the hall." He nodded slowly. Like that meant something. Like he was filing it away. The elevator creaked again, softer this time. Less threatening. More like a reminder. We weren't going anywhere. At least not yet. Owen shifted beside me. "You think someone's noticed by now?" Spencer shook his head slightly. "Not immediately." "Great. But they will," he added. "Eventually." Owen groaned. "You're killing me with the eventually thing." Spencer smiled faintly. And for a second, just a second, everything felt weirdly calm. Like the panic had burned off just enough to leave something else behind. Something quieter. Something heavier. I shifted slightly, stretching my legs, and my knee brushed against Spencer's. Light. Accidental. But neither of us moved right away. I felt it again. That same awareness. That same tension building in a way that had nothing to do with being stuck. Spencer's gaze dropped briefly to where our legs touched. Then back up to me. Slow. Measured. "Still okay?" he asked. Again. Always directed at me. I swallowed. "Yeah." Owen glanced between us, narrowing his eyes slightly like he was starting to notice something. "All right," he said slowly. "I feel like I'm missing something here." "Nothing," I said quickly. "Uh-huh." Spencer didn't say anything, but he didn't look away either. And that was the problem. Because the longer we sat there, the more it felt like the elevator wasn't the only thing keeping us stuck. Owen noticed. Of course he did. He didn't say anything right away, but I could feel it. The way he shifted slightly beside me. The way his eyes flicked between me and Spencer like he was trying to piece something together. And honestly, I couldn't even blame him. Because I felt it too. That weird tension. Not loud. Not obvious. Just sitting there under everything else. Growing stronger the longer we stayed stuck. So, Owen said after a beat, stretching his arms like he was trying to shake it off, "We're just gonna sit here in silence now, or?" "I thought you liked talking," I muttered. "I do," he said, "but not when it feels like I'm interrupting something." I shot him a look. "You're not." "Sure." Spencer huffed a quiet breath, somewhere between a laugh and an exhale. "You always like this?" he asked Owen. "Like what?" Filling the silence. Owen grinned slightly. "Better than overthinking it." Spencer nodded once. "Fair." Another pause settled in. But it wasn't awkward. Not exactly. Just charged. Like everything we said or didn't say mattered a little more than it should. I shifted again, this time fully aware of the way my leg was still lightly pressed against Spencer's. I should have moved. I didn't. Neither did he. "So," Owen said again, clearly refusing to let the quiet win. "What's the worst job you've had?" Spencer leaned his head back, thinking. "Fixing wiring in a flooded basement," he said after a second. "Yeah, that sounds awful," Owen replied. "Yeah," Spencer said. "Cold. Dark. Nothing working." Something about the way he said it made it feel like he wasn't just talking about the basement. I glanced at him. He was already looking at me. Again, that same steady focus. Like he wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. "Why do you keep asking if I'm okay?" I asked suddenly. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Owen went quiet immediately. Spencer didn't look surprised. "I don't know," he said honestly. "That's not an answer." He held my gaze. "You look like you don't say when you're not." That hit harder than it should have. I frowned slightly. "You've known me for like, what, 20 minutes? Still counts." Owen let out a soft, "Okay," under his breath, clearly sensing something was shifting. I looked away first this time. "I'm fine," I said again, quieter. Spencer didn't push it, but I could feel that he didn't fully believe me either. Another low creak echoed through the elevator. Less sharp now. More like settling. Owen leaned his head back against the wall. "You think it's safe to, like, relax a little?" Spencer nodded. "Yeah." "No sudden drops?" "No sudden drops." Owen let out a long breath. "Finally, some good news." I let my shoulders loosen slightly. Not fully, but enough. Spencer shifted his position, stretching one leg out a bit, and this time, the contact between us became more obvious. Not accidental. Not fully intentional either. Just there. Neither of us acknowledged it. But neither of us moved. "Man," Owen said, glancing between us again. "I swear if you two start bonding over this, I'm gonna lose it." "We're not bonding," I said. "Right." Spencer smirked faintly. That didn't help. Owen pointed at us. "See? That. That right there. That's something." "It's nothing," I insisted. "Uh-huh." Spencer finally spoke again. "Why does it bother you?" Owen blinked. "It doesn't bother me." "Sounds like it does." "I just don't like being the third wheel in a broken elevator." Owen shot back. That actually made me laugh. A real one this time. And for a second, everything felt lighter. Until a sudden buzz cut through the space. Sharp. Loud. The lights flickered back on. All at once. We all froze. The panel lit up. The display blinked. Owen shot to his feet immediately. "Oh, that's good, right?" "That's good." Spencer stood too, quicker this time. "Maybe," he said, eyes already scanning the panel. The elevator hummed. Faint at first, then stronger. "Come on," Owen muttered. The cables above shifted again. And this time, we felt movement. A slow, careful lift. We were moving. "Holy shit," Owen said. "It's working." I stood up too, my heart suddenly racing for a completely different reason. Relief. Finally. But Spencer didn't look relieved. Not completely. He was watching the panel too closely. Listening again. That same focused expression from before. "What?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. The elevator moved another inch. Then stopped. Dead. The lights flickered again. Once. Twice. And then dark. Silence. No hum. No movement. Nothing. Owen let out a strangled noise. "No, no, no, no." Spencer exhaled slowly. And this time, he didn't hide it. Yeah, he said quietly. That's not good. The brief hope we had, gone. Just like that. And somehow, being stuck again felt different now. Heavier. Because we almost got out. And now, we were right back where we started. Only closer. More aware. And way more tangled up in whatever this was becoming. The silence after the lights went out again felt worse. Not just dark. Heavy. Like something had snapped not physically, but mentally. Owen was the first to lose it. You've got to be kidding me, he said, voice rising. We were moving. We were literally moving. I know, Spencer said, calm but tighter now. Even in the dark, I could hear the difference. He was still controlled, but not as effortless as before. What happened? I asked. Spencer turned the flashlight back on, the beam cutting through the darkness again. System tried to restart, he said. Didn't hold. That doesn't explain why it stopped again, Owen snapped. It does, Spencer replied. Means the issue's bigger than just the elevator. Owen let out a frustrated breath, pacing again. This is insane. Someone has to notice by now. They will, Spencer said. Yeah, you said that before. I stayed where I was, watching Spencer instead. Because something had shifted. Not just the situation. Him. He wasn't sitting anymore. He was standing closer to the panel, jaw tighter, movements more deliberate. Less relaxed. Still calm, but now it looked like effort. Spencer, I said. He glanced back at me immediately. What? You sure we're good? A pause. Not long, but long enough. We're safe, he said. That wasn't the same as we're fine. Owen caught it too. Safe, he repeated. That's a weird word to use. It's the right word, Spencer said. Owen shook his head, muttering under his breath. I pushed myself up from the wall, stepping closer. Closer to Spencer. Again. Okay, I said quietly. Drop the comm act for a second. How bad is it? Spencer looked at me. Really looked this time. Like he was deciding whether to be honest or keep things under control. Then he exhaled. It's not dangerous right now, he said. But if the system's unstable, I don't know how long it'll stay that way. That landed. Hard. Owen stopped pacing. Define unstable. Power cutting in and out, Spencer said. Controls not responding. Backup not kicking in properly. Cool, Owen said flatly. Love that. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to process it. Okay, so what can we do? Spencer hesitated. Then, I can try climbing up, he said, nodding toward the hatch again. Owen blinked. Climbing out. Not out, Spencer corrected. Just higher. See if I can reach a manual line or signal something. That sounds like a terrible idea, Owen said immediately. It's an option. It's a bad option. It's better than waiting, Spencer said. Silence. I looked up at the hatch. Then back at him. You think you can actually do something from up there? I think I can try. Owen scoffed. And if you fall? I won't. That's not convincing. Spencer didn't argue. Didn't defend it. Just looked at me again. Like my answer mattered more. All right, I said slowly. What do you need? Owen turned to me. Oh, come on, you're actually agreeing to this. We can't just sit here, I said. We can literally do exactly that. Spencer stepped closer. Same setup as before, he said quietly. Just need a boost. There it was again. That closeness. That tension snapping right back into place like it had never left. Fine, I said. Owen groaned. Unbelievable. Spencer positioned himself again, one hand resting on my shoulder. And yeah, still not used to that. Steady, he said. I got you. This time, it felt different. Not just physical. More intentional. Like we both knew what we were doing and what it meant. He climbed up carefully, pushing himself through the hatch just enough to get his upper body inside. The flashlight beam tilted upward, leaving me and Owen in partial shadow. What do you see? Owen called. Spencer didn't answer immediately. I could hear him shifting slightly, metal echoing softly above us. Spencer. I said. Yeah, he replied. But his voice sounded farther. Focused. There's a maintenance ladder, he said. And wiring panels. That's good, right? Owen asked. Maybe. I hated that word now. Can you reach anything? I asked. Another pause. Then. Yeah. But I'll need a second. I kept my hands steady on him, feeling the tension in his body this time. Not panic. Just concentration. Heavy. Real. Owen crossed his arms. This is such a bad idea. Relax, Spencer said from above. I am relaxed, Owen snapped. This is my relaxed voice. I almost smiled. Almost. Then Spencer shifted again, and his hand dropped down briefly, brushing against mine as he adjusted his balance. Not an accident. Not entirely. Just there. I felt it instantly. He paused, just for a second, then kept moving. But that moment, that tiny, quiet contact, hit harder than anything else so far. Because it wasn't about the elevator. It wasn't about being stuck. It was about something else. Something building in a space way too small to ignore it. Almost got something, Spencer said. I looked up at him, heart beating a little faster now. Yeah. Another shift. A faint click somewhere above. And then, a low hum. Soft, but real. Owen straightened instantly. Wait, was that? The elevator lights flickered again. Not fully on, but brighter, stronger. Spencer let out a quiet breath. Okay, he said. This might work. And for the first time since we got stuck, it actually felt like we had a way out. The hum was weak, but it was there. Real. Owen lit up immediately. Oh my God, yes. Yes, that's it. That's something. Don't celebrate yet, Spencer said from above, voice focused. It's not stable. Of course it wasn't. Nothing about this night had been. But still, that sound. It changed everything. The lights flickered again, this time holding just a little longer. The panel blinked, numbers glitching before settling. I tightened my grip slightly, still steadying Spencer. You good up there? I asked. Yeah, he said. Just don't move. I'm not going anywhere. A pause. Then, quieter. I know. That shouldn't have hit the way it did. But it did. Owen leaned forward, staring at the panel like he could will it to work. Come on, come on. Spencer shifted again, adjusting something above us. Another click. The hum deepened. Stronger now. The elevator gave a small, cautious jerk. We all froze. Okay, Spencer said. That's good. That's really good. Please tell me we're moving again, Owen said. Maybe. I almost laughed. Still hate that word, I muttered. Spencer huffed quietly. Then, movement. Slow. Careful. But undeniable. We were going up. Owen actually let out a laugh this time. No way. No way this is it, right? This is actually it. Spencer stayed where he was for another second, watching, listening. Then he lowered himself back down, landing lightly in front of me. Close again. Too close. But this time, neither of us moved away. It's holding, he said. I nodded, letting out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for the last. I don't even know how long. Owen ran both hands through his hair. I swear, I'm taking the stairs for the rest of my life. Good plan, Spencer said. The elevator continued its slow ascent. The tension shifted again. Not gone. Just different. Lighter. But also, more real somehow. Because now we knew we were getting out. And that made everything else feel temporary. Which was a problem. Because I didn't want it to be. I glanced at Spencer. He was already looking at me. Of course. You did good, I said. Simple. But I meant it. He shrugged slightly. Part of the job. Still. Another pause. Owen looked between us again, shaking his head with a small smile. I'm not even going to comment anymore. Good, I said. Yeah. The elevator slowed. A soft ding echoed. The doors slid open. Bright hallway light spilled in, almost blinding after everything. For a second, none of us moved. Like we needed a moment to process that it was actually over. Then Owen stepped out first. Freedom, he muttered dramatically. I followed a second later. Spencer came out last. The hallway felt too big, too normal, like nothing had happened. But it had. I turned slightly, glancing back at him. So that was, I started. Yeah, Owen cut in. That was traumatizing. I'm going home. He pointed at both of us. You two figure out whatever that was. And just like that, he walked off, leaving us alone. Again. But this time, not stuck. Just standing there, facing each other. The silence felt different now. Not forced. Not tense. Just open. You okay? Spencer asked. One last time. I smiled slightly. Yeah, I said. You? He nodded. Yeah. A beat passed. Neither of us moved. Then, you live down the hall, right? He said. There it was. I nodded. Yeah. Another small pause. Then, I still have to check the wiring in your building, he added. Casual. But not really. I exhaled a quiet laugh. Convenient. Very. I stepped back slowly, already knowing this wasn't over. Not even close. Guess I'll see you around then, I said. Spencer held my gaze. Yeah, he said. You will. And as I turned to walk away, I could still feel it. That same pull. That same tension. Only now, we weren't trapped anymore. And somehow, that made it even more dangerous.